Hey guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. So in this video I will be showing you guys how I made this beautiful cardigan. Originally I wanted to make a top with the granny stitch, but then along the way I decided to turn everything into a cardigan, and I'm so in love with the final result. So I'm going to show you guys how I made this and the instructions on how you can make this for your size as well. So let's get right into the video. So the materials that I'll be using for this tutorial is this cotton yarn. One ball of this yarn is actually 100 gram, and I think I'm going to use around 600, but I'll definitely confirm at the end of the video. I am using a 3mm crochet hook, a scissors, and a measurement tape, of course, because you will be needing few measurements as we go. So to get started, I am going to make a slip knot. I'm going to go ahead and chain a total of 78. This pattern is worked in the multiple of threes. So right here I have a total of 78 chains. I'm going to go ahead and just chain one, and right into the second chain from the hook I'm going to go with 3 double crochets right in the same space. One, so after this 3 sets of granny stitch, I'm going to go ahead and skip 2, and into the third chain I'm going to go with another set of granny stitch, which is 3 double crochet all in the same space. Skip 2 chains and into the third with another granny stitch. So I'm going to repeat this for 8 more granny stitch, because at the end I should have a total of 11 granny stitch. So right here I have a total of 11 granny stitch. So now I'm going to go ahead and skip 2 again, and into this third chain I'm going to go with 3 granny stitch, 3 double crochets, sorry, chain 2, and I'm going to go right into the same space with 1 granny stitch, which is 3 double crochet in this case. All in the same space, and the last chain all in the same chain, right there. So as you can see I have 11 granny stitch. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11, and on the 12th I went with 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. So from here on you're going to skip 2 chains again, and into the third chain, which is this one, I'm going to go with 3 double crochet in the same chain, right there, skip 2, 3 double crochet in the third chain, right there, and from here on we are going to repeat this again. We are going to repeat the 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, all in the same space. So again, I'm going to skip 2 chains, and into the third I'm going to go with a granny stitch, chain 2, and granny stitch again into the same space, all in the same chain basically. So right now we have 11 granny stitch, 3 granny stitch, chain 2, 3 double crochet, sorry, 2 double set of granny stitch in between, and then we add the same 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. So now we are going to repeat again this 11 granny stitch pattern all the way to the end, so it actually balances everything. And to do that, all we are going to do is going to skip 2 and into the third with a granny stitch. That's basically what you're going to do up until the end of the chain. So coming right up, I'm going to go right into this last chain 3 with my 3 double crochet to end off this row. Like that. So as you can see, this is how the pattern is worked. So you have the same amount of granny stitch on the side, and then you have this border, which is basically going to be your armpit armpit area, sorry. So this is how the pattern is worked. When it's folded, you're going to continue this until you have your desired size and your desired length, which of course I'm going to take you guys along. But to get started with the next row, we are going to go ahead and chain 3 and turn, and from here we are going to go right into this space in between these 2 granny stitch with 3 sets of double crochets, which is a granny stitch as well. Right there, and of course we are going to go right into the same. So you're basically going to go right into this space in between the 2 granny stitch from the previous row up until this end where you have your 11th granny stitch. So right here, coming right at the borders, which is this granny stitch, chain 2 granny stitch, we are going to go right into the chain 2 space with the same pattern, which is basically 3 double crochet, chain 2, and 3 double crochet, all into the chain 2 space. Right there. And again we are going to go right into this space in between the 2 granny stitch with 3 double crochets again. Into this with 3 double crochet, and into this with 3 double crochet, because this is the granny stitch in between, the space in between the granny stitch and the next borders. I don't know what that is called. I'm just gonna call it borders for this video because I don't know what it's called. And right here we are back to this border, so we are going to go into this chain 2 space with 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. I don't know why do I keep twisting my tongue, but you're going to go right here with 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, all in this chain 2 space. So right there we have completed another border. So now we are going to go ahead and just work in every space in between this granny stitch up until the very end. And also remember, at the end you should have a total of, I think, 12 granny stitch, because we are increasing as we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We are still going to have 11 granny stitch as we go. So you're going to go right into the space with granny stitch, and you're going to repeat this up until the very end of this row. So now coming to the end of this row, I'm going to go ahead and end the row with a double crochet right into this last. So right here you can see we have 1, 2, and then the third one. We're going to go in there with a double crochet just to seal this off right there, and then the row is complete. So to get started with the next row, we are going to go ahead and chain 3 and turn, of course, and right into this first space in between this double crochet that we last did and this 3 sets of double crochet, we are going to go in here with our first granny stitch. But right now, instead of doing 3 double crochet, we are going to go ahead and do 2 instead, because this chain 3 that we did actually counts as 1 double crochet. So I'm going to go right into the space with 2 double crochet, which is basically 3 double crochet because we did chain 3 at the beginning of the row. And right into this space in between these 2 sets of granny stitch, we are going to go with a 3 double crochets all in the same space. Right there, and I'm going to repeat this up until I get to the borders. So coming right here at the borders, I'm going to of course go ahead and do the same thing in this chain 3 space, which is 3 double crochet, chain 2, and 3 double crochet all in the same space. And I'm going to of course go ahead and do a granny stitch in between these 2 granny stitch from the previous row. And coming right at the borders, I'm going to go ahead and do 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, all in the same space. Right there. So from here on, I'm going to just continue with my granny stitch up until the very end, and every space in between the granny stitch from the previous row. So coming to the end of row 3, I'm going to go in between this double crochet and 3 double crochet. Again, this was a chain 3, and a chain 3 in this pattern is the same as a double crochet. So I'm going to go right in here with 3 double crochets to end of the row. So I want to highlight something. So remember, at the beginning of the row we did chain 2 and we had a 3 double crochet at the beginning. So we started the row with a granny stitch and ended the row with a granny stitch. But for row 2, which was the previous row, we started the row with a double crochet and ended the row with a double crochet. This is going to help you to have a border around this area of the pattern, because if we do the granny stitch on each row, we won't be able to have the borders, wouldn't be there basically. I don't know if you, I hope you guys understand what I mean. But again, you're going to start the row 2, we did start with a chain 3 and ended with a double crochet. Row 3, we started with a 3 set of granny stitch and ended with 3 set of granny stitch of double crochets in this case. I don't know why I keep mixing everything up, guys. So that means in row 4 we are going to start the row with a double crochet, which is the same as a chain 3 in this pattern. So we're going to chain 3, and instead of going into the space with a chain 2 to make a granny stitch, we're not going to, because like I said, we are going to start and end this row with a double crochet or a chain 3. So right here I'm going to skip this, ignore this, and right into the space in between this first and the second granny stitch, I am going to go with my first set of 3 double crochets, all in the same space. Right there. And I'm just of course going to continue with my 3 set of double crochet up until the borders, where I'm going to go ahead and do 3 double crochet into the chain 2 space, chain 2, 3 double crochets. I'm going to repeat the same thing up until the end of this row, and I'm going to show you guys what I mean by we are going to end off the row with a double crochet and not a granny stitch again. So right here I'm at the end of row 4. So again, like I said, because we started row 4 with chain 3, which is the same as a double crochet, we are going to end the row with a double crochet. So right here I'm going to go into this, right here we have 1, 2, 3, and into this last I'm going to go with a double crochet to end off this row. So because we end off the row with a double crochet, that means we are going to start the next row with granny stitch instead of a double crochet. But so far this is what the pattern looks like. You are going to repeat this. I am going to repeat this for a total of 20 rows for my size. If you're making a different size, I will again leave a recommended rows for each size in the description box below. I am going to go ahead and do 20 rows of this exact same pattern. You would see as you go that the pattern is going to get larger, because we are increasing whenever we do the borders, we increase, and also whenever we do chain a 3 set of granny stitch at the beginning of the row, we also increase. So I'm basically going to continue this for 16 more rows, and then I'm going to come back and show you guys what the next step is. So right here I have my 20 rows complete of my granny stitch. The measurement for this at this point is, see, the length is 17, almost 17 inches, and then the breadth is a total of 9 inches right there. So again, if you're making a size extra small and small, then I'll suggest you do 15 rows instead of 20. This is for a size medium to large, and if you're making extra large and a size bigger, then I'll suggest you do 25 rows, which is just basically 5 more rows to the 20 rows that I have done. So now from now on, we are going to go ahead and do more rows, but we are not going to walk around the border area. We're basically just going to start at one opposite side of the panel, which is right there, all the way to the first border, and we are going to stop right here and go back and into the beginning of the row, and we are going to repeat that for 10 rows, and this is going to be the back part of the panel. And I'm going to again attach my yarn and repeat the same thing for the opposite side. The only difference between what I'm going to do on this side and the opposite side is we are going to be decreasing for the neckline on one side, and the other side we will not be decreasing. It's going to be just a straight row of granny stitch, but I'm going to show you guys as we go along. So I am going to use a different yarn for this rest of the pattern. You do not have to. I just wanted to add this gold to it because I think it will just bring out the design more. But of course you can stick to the same color and the same yarn you've been using if that's what you want. So I'm just going to go ahead and just attach this to the side and start working on the back panel. So still with my 3mm crochet hook, I'm going to attach my yarn to the opposite side of where I want to start working on my panel. So right here in this chain 3 space, I'm just going to go ahead and attach my yarn. But of course, if you are using the same yarn, then you do not have to do this. I am switching my yarn, so that's the reason why I have to. So after attaching my yarn, I'm going to go ahead and chain 3. And remember, when, like I said, because we have 3 double crochet, a granny stitch on the second to last row, this row we have just 3 double crochet, 3 chain, sorry, which is the same as a double crochet. So for that we are going to go ahead and do a granny stitch right at the beginning. So I already have 3 chain. I'm just going to go right in there with 2 more, which is basically a granny stitch together because it's 3 double crochets together, sorry. So from here on, I'm just going to go ahead and repeat the granny stitch pattern, which is 3 double crochet up until the end, right before the first border. So I'm just going to go with double crochet, so coming right here, I have my first borders, but because we are going to go back with the same row, we are not going to work around the borders and all the way. We are going to go ahead and end this row. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead into this chain 2 space right there, chain 2 space. I'm going to go into this first chain with a double crochet just to end off this row, and I'm going to go ahead and do 2 more double crochets all in the same space. The reason why I'm doing 3 double crochets is because at the beginning right here we did chain 3 and 2 double crochet all in the same space. So that is what I'm going to repeat on this opposite side, just to balance everything off right there. And this is what it looks like. And for this, we are going to go ahead for the next row. We are going to turn the work, chain 3, which is the same as a double crochet, and we are going to go right into the space with 3 double crochets. And I'm just going to repeat the same thing with 3 double crochets up until the very end. So right here, coming back to the row that we did, the first row we did, we are going to go right into the space with 3 double crochet. And because we did 3 double crochet at the beginning, we are going to go into this last set of granny stitch. We are going to go into the last chain 2, basically the chain 3 space with 3 double crochet all in that same space. So this is what the, let me show you guys what, so this is what it looks like. As you can see, we are working on one side of the pattern of the panel. So I'm going to continue this for a total of 8 more rows, and then I'm going to come back and then we'll start the same pattern on this opposite side with decreasing on this side for the neckline. So right here I have my tentacles complete, and this is how it looks so far. If you're making a size extra small, then 10 rows is okay. If you're making a size bigger, then I will suggest you go for 5 more rows, just so you have more space. But you can also put this across your body just to have the perfect width that you're going for as well. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off because this is complete, and I'm going to just seal this off. And right now this is actually 12.5 inches. Again, the length is still the same because we did not work around the borders, so the length is still the same. So what I'm going to do from here on, I'm just going to take my yarn and then I'm going to attach it to the opposite side of this panel, which is right there. If you're using the same yarn, then you're just going to go ahead and attach your yarn, and I'm going to go ahead and make a secure knot just to make sure it's secured. So for the first row, I am going to go ahead and decrease because this is the front. This is going to be the front part of the panel while this is the back panel. So for decrease, what we're going to do, because remember, whenever we have like a double crochet right here and the space between this first set of granny stitch, would go with a chain 3 and 2 double crochet, which is the same as 3 double crochets. But because we are decreasing, we are not going to do that. What I'm going to do in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and grab my yarn. See the way I grabbed my yarn all the way? So after making a knot, you're just going to grab your yarn as if you're about to chain, but we are not going to chain anything because we are going to be decreasing. So we are not going to chain anything, or we are not going to walk into the space. We are going to go right into this second space with our first granny stitch. And this automatically works your first decrease. So again, you're going to make sure you're decreasing on this side. So as you can see, the panel, this is going to be the upper part of the panel, while this is going to be the lower part or the edge of your cardigan. So you're going to make sure you decrease on the side and not on the opposite side of the panel. So from here on, I'm just going to work my 3 set of double crochets into the space up until the very end of the row, which is right at the borders. So right here, coming to the edge of this panel, I'm going to go ahead and work my 3 set of double crochet in this first double crochet in the set of chain 2. Or you can just go right into this chain 2 space. You don't really have to be specific with actually doing it in the chain, this first chain. You can just go into the chain 2 space with your 3 set of granny double crochets right there. So this is what it looks like. So for the next row, because we are not decreasing on this side of the panel, you're going to go ahead and chain 3 and turn. So from here we are going to work our way upwards, which is just we're going to go ahead and do a granny stitch right on top until the very end, where we are going to go ahead and decrease again, because again, whenever we go to the upper part, we are going to be decreasing because that's the neckline. We are working the neckline. So right here, coming to the top, we are going to go ahead and decrease again, because we are going to decrease every row for 10 rows. So right here, I'm going to go with my last set of granny stitch. And I'm not going to work my way forward. I'm just going to go ahead and turn my work right there. Not chaining anything, I'm going to go right into the space with 3 set of double crochets all in that same space. And as you can see, we're already decreasing. So I'm going to repeat this pattern for 10 rows, because remember we did 10 rows for the opposite panel, and I will come back and show you guys what the pattern looks like with decreasing. So right here, I just finished my 10 rows of decreasing on the opposite side. So I am going to go ahead and just cut off this yarn because I have this complete. And I'm going to go ahead and repeat the same process for the opposite panel. And then I'll come back and show you guys when I have both of them complete. So right here, I have both of my panels complete. What I'm going to do in this case, I'm going to go ahead and attach both on the back panel together. So again, remember where we did the decreasing is the front panel, and where we did no decreasing is the back panel. So I'm going to go ahead and single crochet these two from the top all the way to the bottom together. And of course, I'm going to go ahead and use this yarn to do that. So right here, I have this single crochet together, and this is how it looks when you turn it to the opposite side. So again, I'm going to just keep this on the wrong side because I already single crochet that end. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and single crochet these two sides together. So remember, I started decreasing right after this last row that we did, row 20. So right from here where I stopped decreasing, I'm going to go ahead and just single crochet this shoulder part together, and I'm going to repeat the same thing on the opposite side of the panel as well. And I'm just going to single crochet these two together. So right here, coming to this last set, I'm going to just go ahead and do my single crochet just to make sure I seal this off. The tension is a bit tight, so I'm just going to chain a 1 and cut off my yarn. And I'm just going to sew in the loose end. So right here I have one sleeve complete, which of course I'm going to show you guys how I got this done. I did add this extra to it just because I feel like it just gives the sleeve better definition and everything. So for the sleeve, it's basically the same granny stitch that we did. We are not increasing or decreasing. We will be doing decreasing at the end just to give it this extra, because there's this strap that you can obviously just tie up just to give you extra spiciness. And so I'm going to go ahead and take my yarn. So with my yarn right here, I'm going to go ahead and attach it to the bottom of my sleeve, which is basically the armpit hole. So right here, this is your sleeve. I'm going to go ahead and attach my yarn right at the bottom right here with a secure knot. After securing my knot, I'm going to go ahead and chain 3. After chaining 3, I'm going to go right into this first space with 2 more double crochets, which is basically a double crochet, 3 double crochets in this case, because we did chain 3 and the chain 3 counts as a double crochet. So afterwards, I'm just going to go and work my way with 3 double crochets in all the space around the sleeve area. So right into this next space, I'm going to go with a granny stitch. Right here we have border, 1 border. I'm going to go right in between those 2 sets with 3 double crochets right there. Into this next with 3 double crochets. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat this all around. So coming right at the seam area of the sleeve, which is this area where we attached the top panels together, I'm going to go ahead and skip this right here and just push my way. There is no space because this is where we did the seam, but I'm just going to push my way and do my 3 double crochets right into this space right there, just so I do not skip, because if I do skip and go into the next space, I'm going to have a big gap in between, and I don't want that. So I'm just going to go ahead and do my 3 sets of double crochets right there, and from here on I'm just going to go right into this next available space with my 3 sets of double crochets again, and I'm just going to repeat this up until the very end of this row. So coming up right where we started with our row, which is we did a chain 3 and 2 double crochet, I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch right into this first chain 3, right into the set of chain 3. I'm going to slip stitch right on top of the third chain that we did right there to end of this row. So that is the row 1 for the sleeve. So to get started with the next row, remember when we were working the panels, whenever we start with chain 3 2 double crochet, the next row we are going to start with chain 3, skip, and into the next we are going to go with a 4 set of granny stitch. Okay. And I'm basically going to repeat this pattern all around, and when I get to this end, then we are going to come back and end off the row. So coming right at the end of row 2, I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch right into this chain 3 space to end off the row. And to get started with the next row, we are going to go ahead and chain 3 and work 2 double crochet right into this space right there. And that is how we are going to start off row 3, and you're just going to continue to work your way with your granny stitch in every space in between granny stitches until you come back to the end of the row, where you're going to slip stitch into this row 3, chain 3, sorry. And to get started with the row, you're going to chain 3 and then you work your first granny stitch in the next space. So I'm basically going to continue this for 31 rows. So now I am on my 3rd row. I'm going to do this for a few more rows. When I have 31 rows complete, then I'm going to come back and show you guys what the next step is for the pattern. So coming right up on the sleeve, I have 30 rows complete, and that is from where I started with the sleeve up until this point, and that is a total of 12 inches. But in total, the sleeve is currently, from the shoulder area, the sleeve is currently, let's see, 19.5 inches basically. So for the next step on this, we are going to go ahead and do 9 more rows, and the 9 more rows, the only difference is we are going to go ahead and open the row. Instead of closing the sleeve, it's going to be there is going to be an opening right there. As you can see from this other sleeve, this is the opening. So you're basically going to repeat. The only difference is you're not going to slip stitch on top of the row to end of the row basically. So you're just going to turn around and start with the next row, and of course I'm going to show you guys how you can get that done. So right here, I just finished my 30th row. What I'm going to do in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and turn my work. Instead of going back where I actually should start my row, I'm going to turn my row and go back to the opposite end. And to get started with that, I'm going to go ahead and chain 3, skip this, and into the second space I'm going to go with my granny stitch. It's basically the same pattern. The only difference is you're not going to slip stitch right on top of that chain 3 space to end off the row. You're going to go ahead and turn off your row again and go to the opposite end of the row. So I'm basically going to continue to do granny stitch in all the available space up until I get back to where I did my chain 3, and then we are going to end off the row and get started with the next one. So right here, coming back to the beginning of the row, right here we have, remember at the beginning we did chain 3 and then we went straight into the next available space with the granny stitch. So we are going to end off the row the same way with chain 3, which is the same as double crochet. So in this case, we are going to go right into this last space with a double crochet to end off the row right there. And you're just going to turn your work around because we are going to work on the opposite end. So for the next row, you're going to chain 3 and you're going to insert 2 double crochet, which is basically going to be a granny stitch because the chain 3 is also a double crochet. So you're basically going to repeat the same pattern that we did. Whenever we are starting the first row, we have a chain 3, so that means the next row we are going to have a chain 3 and 2 double crochet all in that same space. So I'm just going to work my way up until I get to the opposite end of this row. So coming right at the end of the row, we are going to go ahead and repeat the same thing that we did at the beginning. So in this case, we are just going to go right into the space between the chain 3 and the first granny stitch with 3 double crochets just to end off this row. And you're just going to chain 3 and turn, and you're going to repeat these 2 row again until you have a total of 9 row. But again, this is optional. You can just try on the cardigan and see how long the sleeves are at this point, and just decide how long you want yours to be. I am going to do this for another 7 rows, sorry, and then I'll come back and show you guys how we are going to finish off the sleeve. So right here I have my 9 remaining rows complete, and this is the opening. So now I'm going to go and switch to the other yarn that I used just to finish off the sleeve. So to finish off the sleeve, we are going to go ahead and do one more row with this, but it has a slight difference. So I'm going to end off this row and just make a secure this well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this opposite yarn to the one side of the sleeve, make a secure knot, and I'm going to go ahead and chain 60 because this is going to be the strap to tie up the sleeve at the end. After chaining 60, I'm just going to go ahead and chain an extra one and cut this off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach my yarn to the opposite side of the sleeve. So we already have the 60 chains on this side, so we're going to attach our yarn on the opposite side, just right there. Secure it with a knot, and I'm going to go ahead and chain 60. So after chaining 60 for the opposite side of the sleeve, I am going to go ahead and work my way into the fourth chain from the hook with 2 double crochets. Right there. So the chain 3 that we skipped is going to be a double crochet, and then the 2 double crochet that we worked right there. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and skip 2, and into the third chain I'm going to go with 3 double crochets all in that same chain. Right there. I'm going to go ahead and skip 2 again, and into the third chain I'm going to go with 3 double crochets. And with that, I'm going to continue to do the same pattern until I get to the end of this chain. So coming right up, I have my last set of 3 chains before I start working on the sleeve again. So what I'm going to do in this case is, remember we have a chain 3 right here. So I'm going to go right into this chain 3 space. I'm going to work my 3 double crochets right into that same space, just to work my way right on top of the sleeve. Right there. And from here on, I'm just going to go ahead and work my granny stitch in all the available space up until I get to the opposite chain that we made for the opposite side. Go ahead and work my last set of 3 double crochets right in between this chain 3 and this set of granny stitch. And from here on, I'm just going to go ahead and skip 2 chains, and into the third I'm going to go with 3 double crochets and just work my way all across the chain with skip 2 chains, and into the third with 3 double crochets up until the end of the chain. And right here I'm just going to go in this last space with my last set of granny stitch. And basically we just have a two long strap at the two end of the sleeve, which we are going to tie up at the end. So for the next row, we are just going to go ahead and chain 3, turn, and we are going to skip this, and into this first space in between these two granny stitch, we are going to repeat 3 double crochets all in that same space. And I'm actually just going to repeat this granny stitch pattern through the chain up until the sleeve, all around the sleeve and back to this chain, and then I'm going to come back and show you guys what the next step is. So coming right to the opposite end of the chain, to end of the row, I'm going to go right into this last chain 3 space that we did at the beginning, double crochet, sorry, with a double crochet to end of the row. So to get started with row 3, I'm going to go ahead and chain 3 and turn, and right into the space between this double crochet and granny stitch, we are going to go with two more double crochets just to start off the row right there. And I'm going to repeat this granny stitch pattern up until the end of this first strap. So coming right at the sleeve, usually we would just go into the space and do the 3 sets of double crochets, but we are going to, again, like I said, snatch the sleeve a bit. So what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to single crochet along the sleeve, and to do that I'm just going to go in this available space right here with a single crochet into the next, with a single crochet to the next, with a single crochet, and I'm just going to do this all around until I get to the end of the sleeve and across to the strap, opposite end of the strap. So right here that I actually made it to the last space on the sleeve, I'm just going to go ahead and work the granny stitch again around the strap area. Started with the next, we're just going to go ahead and end off the sleeve, and to do that I'm going to chain 1 and turn, and I'm just going to single crochet right into this first space, and I'm just basically going to single crochet right on top of every double crochet that we did from the previous row, just to end this off right there. I'm just going to continue to do this all across the sleeve until I get to the opposite strap, and do the same thing just to seal off the sleeve. So right here I'm just going to go ahead and just continue with my single crochet in all this space. It's a bit loose because we did the single crochet around, but you can see how the sleeve actually just snatches a bit. So I'm just going to go all into the space right there with my single crochet just to end off and get to the opposite strap. So at this point the sleeve is complete. You're just going to go ahead and repeat this for the opposite sleeve, and then I am going to come back and show you guys what the finishing is going to look like. So for the neckline, I am going to grab my yarn and I'm going to attach it to one side of the neck. So right here at the edge, I'm going to go ahead and attach this, make a secure knot, and I'm going to go ahead and chain 60. So after chaining 60, I'm just going to chain an extra one, and I'm going to cut off this yarn. And I'm going to attach the yarn to the opposite end and chain 60 again. So right after chaining 60, I'm going to go ahead and skip 2, and into the third I'm going to go with 2 double crochet, and I'm basically just going to repeat the same thing that we did for the sleeve on around the neckline, just to give it a tie. So coming to the decrease area of the neckline, I am just going to go right into, let me turn this so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to go right into this available space with a granny stitch. In between this 2 row, as you can see, I'm just going to go right here with another one, and I'm basically just going to look around for a available space so I can actually work the granny stitch, because remember we did decrease around this area. And I'm just going to go right into this next with another granny stitch, and this is how it looks. Into this I'm going to go with a granny stitch. Into this next one I'm going to go again with my 3 double crochet, all in that same space. Into this with another one, in between these 2 with another one right there, and right into the space with another granny stitch. And in between right here I'm going to go with another one. Okay, so this is what it looks like at this point. So you have your string right there, hope you can see. So now we are going to go ahead and work our way all around the neckline so we can get to the opposite side of the cardigan as well. I'm going to go right in between this last set of granny stitch and the seam with 3 sets of double crochet. There's actually no way, you just have to look around and see where you can actually attach a granny stitch all around the neckline, because this is going to give the neck a better finishing. So that is basically what I'm doing, just looking for any available space so I can do my 3 sets of double crochet right in there. So coming right around the neckline, this is the back panel. I'm going to go ahead and work my granny stitch right into the spaces right there. So into this first one I'm going to go with 3 double crochet, skip this right there, and into this next we're going to go with another 3 double crochet right there, skip this, and into the next you're going to go with 3 double crochet, and I'm just going to repeat this all around until I get to the opposite side of the front panel, and I'm going to also work my way all around until I get to this chain and work on the chain as well. So this is what it looks like at the moment after 1 row. I am going to go ahead and repeat this row for 4 more rows because I want to have 5 at the end. Again, that is optional. You can actually go for less or even more if that's what you want to do. I'm going to get that done, and then I'll come back and sew in all the loose ends and show you guys what the final result looks like.